Welcome to the CareCast. I'm Brian.
And I'm Matt, and today we're going to talk about Project L, Riot's new fighting game.
Hell yeah. But before we get into that, be sure to like, favorite, and subscribe. Be sure to follow us on Patreon with patreon.com/Patreon.
Also, we're now on iTunes. Follow us and subscribe to us on iTunes or whatever happens over there.
So Riot's supposedly making a fighting game, eh?
That's correct.
Yeah, ain't that some shit?
That's pretty wild.
Yeah. You're a fan of fighting games, right?
I do. I love them.
Yeah, I've played one or two.
Yeah.
You want to tell the audience your history with fighting games, like in a nutshell?
Sure. So I got into competitive fighting games back in 2003, and I went to a lot of tournaments for many years. Was active for like 10 to 11 years, kind of petering off toward the end. Didn't go to as many tournaments toward the end, but I went to a lot during that period of time, and I played lots of different games. Nowadays, I still play fighting games, but I'm pretty casual about it. You know, just play online or whatever, or just with friends. And yeah, and so that's my perspective on the new Riot fighting game. Is like, it's something I can download on my Riot launcher or whatever, and just like queue up while I'm watching a stream or YouTube video or something.
Yeah. But you have history, have FGC history, so you know your shit. So Riot, if you're listening, you better listen fucking good, okay?
Yeah.
We got the hot takes you need to put in your video game.
Yeah, my friend, Mike Z, maybe you've heard of him. He's like a pretty big dude.
Yeah, I love Skull Space Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, so long story short, you have a pretty good track record with fighting games.
Yeah. I've spent a lot of time playing them and watching other people play them.
And which ones would you say you're the most intimate with, and like which ones were your favorites?
Well, I played a lot of the Street Fighter series. I was a big fan of the Alpha series. Although I didn't play that one competitively too much. It was kind of like on the way out when I started playing. I played lots of Third Strike, but that's all. I mean, I don't know. That's a really hard game, so I wouldn't call myself an expert on that one by any means. But I play a lot of it for whatever that's worth. I played, Super Turbo, Capcom versus SNK 2. That was probably one of my better games. A little bit of Marvel versus Capcom 2. I tried to keep up with people in that. People were insanely good at that one.
Yeah.
I played a lot of Guilty Gear. That was like one of my better games too, for sure. And that's pretty much. I mean, played a little bit of Tekken here and there. Dabbled in lots of other things. King of Fighters, Virtua Fighter. Anything else?
Balls 3D.
I never competed in Balls 3D. And I never did that. I played a little bit of Blaze Blue, just a little bit. But I'm not very good at that one.
Played a little Brutal Paws of Fury.
I mean, I did play that when I was a child, yeah. It was just as hard when I recently played it. It's just as hard as I remembered it being. So it wasn't just my like childhood self just sucking terribly.
Yeah. So what fighting games would you say you play the most nowadays, since you've kind of migrated towards a casual kind of fighting game playing?
Nowadays, the ones I play the most are like Tekken 7, Guilty Gear, Exard, Rev 2 with friends occasionally, Fantasy Strike, and a little bit of Street Fighter 5, and just a little bit of the other ones here and there. Like if I feel like trying to learn a combo or something, you know, I might do that.
Yeah, dive kick. Yeah.
Yeah. I tried Blaze Blue, what's it called? Central Fiction 2.0. I tried what's it called? Fighting EX Layer.
Oh yeah.
And just about every other fighting game. Oh, and not I haven't played Soul Calibur 6 yet, or Mortal Kombat 11 or 10. Or no, actually, I did play 10. Or I booted it up on Steam once. that was 10. I haven't played 11 yet, and none of the Injustices either. So I think that's pretty much everything I can think of.
Yeah, but you have a good familiarity with a bunch of varied fighting games, you'd say.
Yeah. I'm like, pretty familiar with most fighting games.
Yeah, dabble in a lot of them.
Yeah.
So you know a good bit about fighting games, but then you have me, who is the polar opposite of the spectrum, who knows pretty much nothing about fighting games.
Right.
Except from what I've picked up from you.
Uh-huh.
I've never competed. I played just a couple of fighting games ever, and I suck at them, so there you go.
So 2 very different perspectives on the game will be interesting.
Yeah. So this thing's been kind of or its development's been kind of secretive, hasn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
They don't disclose a whole lot of information except that it exists. Hey guys, we're making it, just FYI, but we're not going to show you anything.
Yeah, I mean, that was the essence of the first reveal of the game. It was just like, we're working on a fighting game. That was pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had some kind of event recently where they showed some footage of the game, and it was like, yeah, here's some footage of the game here, and this is what we're working on.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. That was pretty much it.
Yeah, see you in a couple years.
Yeah, I think that was exactly what they wanted us to get from it.
Yeah. I guess it's good that they touched base, but if anybody's I think people were expecting a little more, a little something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seemed very early in development, for sure.
So it's cool to know that they're working on it, but I get the feeling it won't see the light of day for at least another year, at the very least. Probably 2 or 3, I would think.
Yeah.
Or maybe there will be a very stripped down version that's released, and they'll just develop it as time goes on. And just increase the roster, increase the number of arenas and all this other stuff just as time goes on from its initial release.
Yeah. I would not be surprised to see some kind of open beta thing, or early access, if you want to call it that.
So fighting games are pretty dumb. I got him.
How fucking dare you?
No, so this game ain't coming out for a long while, but even though it's far in the future, what hopes do you have for it? Is there anything you'd like to see in a fighting game that, like, because it's like it has the potential to be a fighting game that's really popular and has a lot, like a big player base, and it's not one of these niche titles like Unist and Blaze Blue, who have like, you know, discords with like 5 people in there chatting it up and saying like, hey, do you want to battle? Yeah, I guess. Okay. And you're just battling the same 5 guys
Yeah.
over and over.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and those kind of games, like, it's like you have to be on the Discord to get matches. You know, you can't just like jump on and go into ranked mode or queue up or whatever. You can't. It's just it's gonna be like a year before you find a match. You know.
Yeah, so I guess that's one of the modern problems of fighting games, is trying to get a match when there's so many sharks in the pond, with Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and Tekken,
Yeah.
Soul Calibur to a lesser extent, and they have, you know, these all together make up like 99% of the market share, and the rest is divided by Fantasy Strike, EX Slayer, Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear, and all these other games that nobody plays. Essentially nobody.
Yeah.
Compared to Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter.
Yeah. And the other problem is, even among those games, you have segmented populations from PC to Xbox to PS4, you know.
Yeah.
To Switch or whatever in some cases.
Yes.
So yeah, it's you know, like, what are you playing? What game are you playing, and what platform are you playing it on? I got to know that before I can even think about playing you.
Right. So I guess that kind of goes into both of our first hopes for this game, is that for you, one, there will be plentiful matches, and for me, one, that there's cross play, that there's no PS4 players restricted to PS4, Xbox to Xbox. Like, no, that's just like, it's so antiquated seeing how similar PS4s are to PCs, and people even performing experiments where they've crossed PS4 with Xbox online play. Like, the cat's out of the bag, and Minecraft's already done it, Fortnite's already done it, so I really see no excuse why to have it anymore.
Yeah, I think recently there's been some kind of statement by Sony or some kind of progress on that front. I think crossplay is moving forward. I'll have to look up a source on that, but you know, that's if true, that's good, and it would definitely be good for unifying the player base, if indeed it is on consoles.
Yeah, good. They wised up.
I saw this someone else somewhere on the internet mentioned this, so it's kind of stealing from them, but I thought it was a pretty cool idea. It would be pretty cool to see, I don't know what they're called, but I would say unique assist characters, and I'm referring to the ones from Marvel vs. Capcom 1. And for anybody who doesn't know, that game had assists, so it had a playable roster, and then it had a selection of characters who were not playable directly, but they could be called as an assist during the fight. So, like, I think Psylocke was one of these characters. Colossus, I think, was another one.
What about Little Red Riding Hood?
Yeah, BB Hood from Darkstalkers, I think she might have been one. Sentinel, I think, also. I don't remember a lot of them. There was like lots of little Devilot, I think, from like one of the weird Capcom games. I don't even know what the Red Earth, maybe, I don't know, whatever. But it had lots of unique characters that either were never playable in any of the Versus games, or maybe they were in the past, but they didn't want to put them in the new game, or in Marvel 1. Whatever the case. But so anyway, it had like, they would have like one move, so it was like less effort for that, to make that character. But it was still nice to see, like, you know, you could still have like Colossus. If you're a big Colossus fan, you could put him in your team essentially.
Yeah.
And it would be nice to see it for this game, Project L, because of the League of Legends roster is like huge or whatever. I don't even know how many characters it has. Hundreds probably. And I mean, they're not going to make 100 characters in a fighting game. Like, I would not expect that. If they did, it would be pretty cool, but I'm just not expecting that. So, but it would be a nice place to kind of bring that back. Because we haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, why did assist characters fall out of favor? Any reason you see?
Well, I mean, the sequel to Marvel vs. Capcom 1, which was Marvel vs. Capcom 2, New Age of Heroes, didn't have those, but it did emphasize the assist type. So, I mean, like when you picked a character, you would pick the assist type. And so, every character you picked was playable directly by you, but you could customize what attack they would do when you would call them as an assist from a different point character. So I don't know. Maybe it's just because they were willing to put in more effort in developing the characters. Like maybe people complained about not being able to play as Colossus or whatever, and they were like, you know what? Let's go the extra mile. Make Colossus a playable character, and we'll just like buff up the assist variety for every single character.
Okay.
It's hard to say exactly. I think it was in Marvel vs. Capcom 1. I think it was just like a way of including more characters without developing each character fully as a playable character. So it was kind of a shortcut.
Yeah.
That's why. And that's why it would be a good idea for the League fighting game, because they're sure as hell not going to make every single character in the game, But or maybe another option would be like, if they do go the beta or early access route, they could have a lot of characters be those unique assists where they just have one attack and you can call it as an assist. But then they could develop them as the game goes on,
Yeah, that would be a good idea for having them as assist characters. Since having 145 playable, fully functioning, fleshed out characters in a fighting game seems a little ridiculous, but
yeah,
League of Legends has it, and each one's fleshed out and whatnot. So
yeah, and from my armchair developer perspective, a fighting game character is going to be a lot more work than a League character, I think. Which is why I emphasize that it would be crazy to have that many characters, but it would also be fucking awesome. Like, just having it would feel like a Mugen game, where you have like a million characters, just there. And there's no way it would be balanced. Obviously, there'd be some kind of crazy shit, that you could do in a game with that many characters, which would also be kind of funny and cool. Like that kind of freedom is like sadly kind of missing from fighting games nowadays. You don't see that too much because they're so polished and patched and everything. They just try to buff out any kind of questionable things at a fighting games now. But it would be really nice to see just a little bit more freedom, a little bit of like, who cares, like just go nuts. Let players do some crazy shit, do an infinite, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, let players have 17 fucking reptiles in their game.
Yeah.
And 20 scorpions and 15 sub-zeros. Every single iteration throughout the entire Mortal Kombat franchise we need in our Mugen, bruh.
Yeah.
Good God. Yeah, I need that MK1 reptile just because MK2 just doesn't cut it for me, bruh.
MK1 just had the better jabs that were 1 frame faster. His sweep was like 3 pixels longer, and his acid spit was, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, if you say that unironically, you can buff something.
Yeah.
God, 20 scorpions. Get the fuck out of here. Damn, who needs that shit?
Too many scorpions.
Like, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3's roster is pretty fucking ridiculous, but
yeah,
these Mugen rosters make that look like nothing. They got like fucking 12 by 12 grids of characters. Like,
yeah.
God damn.
You can't even see what you're picking. It's too tiny.
Yeah, it's just, you look at the icon and it's just a 5 by 5 sprite. You can't even tell what the hell it is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's green. I guess that's like Reptile or maybe Jade. I don't know. It's one of them. Fuck it. Speaking of the hundreds of characters available, what I think would be neat, which I've never seen a fighting game do, if you have already done that, then big ups to you. But what I'd like to see is an a la carte fighting game where you can download the game for free, download the base game, and from your 145 lot of heroes, you can pick 1 or 2, maybe 5, whatever, that are free for you to have. And any other characters beyond that you want to play as, you have to pay, $5, $2, whatever, some sort of money. So your first 5 are free, and any other hero you want to fight as is DLC you need to pay for. And that sort of microtransaction system is what lets the game remain free to play. Because I feel like nobody buys a fighting game, like a modern fighting game, not like, back in the day when, Mortal Kombat 1 with 7 characters or something. Like nowadays when there's Tekken and there's like 50 characters or something. Nobody plays as all 50 characters unless you're insane and have a lot of time to waste. So, why pay for all of them? Why bother having all of them available to you if you only use just a couple fighters, If I'm playing Tekken, I only use Yoshimitsu and maybe dabble with some other character as a meme, as a lark. So I guess I'd have a pretty inexpensive experience with this a la carte fighting game.
Yeah. And yeah, that's a pretty cool idea. Like, I think that kind of business model, which they've that's pretty similar to the one they go with in League of Legends, where it's like there's a rotating list of characters you can play for free every like week or 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
And and then you just buy characters a la carte as you see fit, or with your Riot points or whatever the fuck kind of currency you can use. And it still lets it be free to play, which is I think a big deal. We haven't seen that really. We've seen free to play fighting games for sure, but we haven't seen a game of that scale for a fighting game.
Yeah,
which could potentially like be huge for a player base, like a free to play fighting game that makes money on the character purchasing or cosmetics or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really, we haven't seen that yet, and that would be super awesome for the matchmaking kind of environment that I want to see in this game.
Yeah, because you can get like anybody in the door, just person just casually picks it up for one day, or somebody who's all out invested in it. You just get everybody in there because it's free to play. So why not take it for a spin?
Yeah, and if anybody's going to do it, Riot's in the perfect position to do it. They've got a huge company. They've got the investment potential. They can certainly put a lot of money behind this game and try this business model out. And I'm eager to see what it's going to be. I sure hope they don't like charge, full price for this game.
Yeah,
because like looking back, Street Fighter V, it almost seems like it was intended to be like that.
Yeah.
With all the microtransactions in the game, it would have made more sense if it was like a free to play game.
Yeah.
Where you just buy your characters, like, but they had their cake and they can eat it too. It's like you have to pay 60 plus, and then you have to buy characters and costumes. So Street Fighter did not go that route, but I would like to see a game actually go the free to play route and see what comes of it.
Yeah, and it, based on what you tell me from League of Legends, it seems like something in line with what they already do. Just apply it to a fighting game.
Yeah.
And it's very accommodating for everybody who maybe just wants a very lean experience and maybe just wants to fuck with one or two characters, or somebody who wants to buy all of them and you've made, $500 off of them at the end of the day or something.
Right.
It'll all balance out.
Yeah.
How many characters would you say max you typically try to get good with in a fighting game? Just any given fighting game, not one in particular.
No more than 3, just like in general.
And
I was gonna say at least one. That's like a stupid answer. I try to stick with one if I can at all. But sometimes I get interested in another character, or, things happen. I'm like, what about another character? And maybe they're a super cool character too. So
you're gonna be one of those cheap ass players who's a net deficit to Riot.
Yeah, probably.
Your loss needs to be zeroed out with a whale who buys all 145 characters.
Yeah, and statistically, that's gonna happen. So
yeah. Well, it's like Fortnite making billions of dollars with all those skins.
Yeah.
Making up for those people who download it once, play one game, and delete it.
Yeah.
Me being included in that group.
Right.
So what else would you hope for in Project L?
Well, it's got to have GGPO netcode or just some good rollback netcode. But it's being developed by the guys who made GGPO, so I don't think it's a stretch, to expect that. I was going to say GGPO recently went open source.
Nice.
So it's available to everybody, and the documentation on that's really interesting if you're ever curious about how it works, or whether it's like a good fit for a game that you might be developing.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it wasn't being developed by the Cannon brothers, they could use GGPO now because it's open source. But either way, it's probably a good bet it's going to have GGPO or something identical.
Nice. And that's the gold standard of netcode for fighting games, would you say?
I would say so. As a formerly competitive and now casual fighting gamer, it's just the most smooth kind of netcode there is, really.
But lag affects people differently on different ends.
It's a good point, actually.
Yeah, so GGPO is irrelevant.
I've seen some really insane like rants from people who insist that like GGPO is like a scam. There's like some just the craziest like article I ever, and some guy was like saying like GGPO is like a socialist scam lie factory, and he's like, and he had like his own solution, but it sounded like impossible or just like equally crazy, or you know. So I don't know. There's some weirdos out there who might not like GGPO, but probably for the best if it has GGPO.
Yeah. What games do have GGPO that you know of?
Well, the game that was cannibalized by Riot, Rising Thunder, had GGPO when it was, well, I say cannibalized. I think there's like a free open source version of it that they released at some point, so you might still be able to play it. But anyway, so when that was like hot, it had GGPO. When it was like still online, it had GGPO. And Skullgirls, I believe, had GGPO or something identical. What else? Oh, Killer Instinct, the new Killer Instinct game had GPO.
Is this netcode something that's just unique to fighting games, or could it be applied to other online games like maybe Call of Duty or something? What do you think?
It could be applied to any online game, really, but as long as it meets certain criteria. And I don't have it in front of me, so I can't list the criteria, but I know that GGPO requires your game to be entirely deterministic, given the same set of inputs.
The hell does that mean?
So you have to get the same result every single time by running the same set of inputs through the game.
Oh.
If there's ever something that goes wrong, you're going to get a desync. So, you know, you never want both players to see the you win screen. that could happen if the game does not, if it doesn't have the same result every single time for every the same set of inputs. So there's that. Also, GGPO requires very quick saving and loading of your game state, because as the name rollback implies, if there's a discrepancy between what the game has shown and what the inputs received from the players are, if there's a discrepancy, it's going to roll back to a previous moment in the time scale of the game, and restart with the correct actions being shown from both players. And so you have to be able to do that within a frame of processing of your game.
Kind of sounds like Call of Duty maybe could do that if there was like the random elements were removed from it, like maybe bullet firing patterns. They might be random, but if you removed that, maybe it could. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a really interesting read, and it's gonna make a lot more sense probably if you read it on the GitHub or whatever they have up for it. So I would encourage anybody who's interested to check it out. But yeah, it's possible, you know, for just about anything. It just has to meet those criteria.
What does GGPO stand for? Good game, piss off?
Peace out.
Oh, I like piss off more.
Yeah, sure. Whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter.
Good game. Now piss off. I got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the essence of peace out. It's like, good game, peace out. It's like, I gotta go do some shit, man. Peace out later. Good game.
Good God. Nice. GGPO is awesome. This stream is brought to you by GGPO. Are you making an online video game and need good netcode? GGPO has you covered. It's open source and free, so who's paying us to say this?
I don't know.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, just download it, whatever.
Nice. Who made it? The Coen brothers?
The Cannon brothers. Tom and Tony Cannon. I played one of them at Evo once.
Dog, who haven't you played at Evo?
It's funny. He had a weird team in Capcom versus SNK 2. I kicked his ass. That was pretty funny. I was like, bro, thought you were famous.
Damn.
No, I was just kidding. I didn't say anything like that.
And you trust these people with your net code and he picks...
I know, yeah. Like, what were they thinking? Oh my god.
You said that you hope Project L is easy to pick up and play. What do you mean by that?
So when I play Street Fighter V, which is like a popular current fighting game, I play on PS4, and my experience is like it takes forever to even get past like the logo at the beginning of the game. Like it has to log into the Capcom servers or something, and then has like download updates and then so then I have to like queue up for a match, pick my character in advance, and then sit in training mode or on the menu or whatever, and then wait for a match, and then everything takes so much time. And then when you finish the match, you have to like watch the characters win animation, and then you can't skip it. And then it's like it shows you a post-match like analysis of your combat abilities, which is worthless. It's just it just gives you some like grade base of your your damage or whatever. And then you have to say, okay, then I want a rematch, and then you can skip like the intro cinematics, but it's just so sluggish, and I feel like that affects my desire to play it. Like it's not quick at all. It's like I have to set aside time if I want to play it, and it makes me think of like older games. I'm specifically thinking of like old arcade games, which might be a different story because I'm playing those on like an emulator, and they're very quick to like just jump in and that was like a big deal when I was younger. It was like I could just start up any old game and just like jump in and like mess around if I wanted to, and it feels like it's just not, modern games are just not that simple. So I don't know if Project L would be any faster than like, for example, Street Fighter V, because I'm sure there's like matchmaking and there's a client I'm sure it'll run on or whatever, but I would hope that it's just, as long as it's easy for me to just like jump in and do something fun, like play the AI or go to training mode, record a combo or something like that, then I feel like I would be more apt to play it.
So it seems like the like downtime between matches and just the startup time to get into your first match is kind of a mood killer for Street Fighter V.
Yeah, I feel like it affects me a lot. I just want something I can just jump in, just like start it up and
Yeah.
jump in. Like the faster you can get me there, the better, and I think a lot of people are gonna feel the same way.
Yeah, because you're just ready to go, ready to get into a match with somebody, and
Yeah,
you don't want to just sit there twiddling your thumbs waiting for a match.
I know, right?
So maybe the potential of the larger install base and player base, if this is free to play, might help alleviate some of that. At least the in between match lull, maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think? Do you think maybe the sophistication of the graphics too makes it just all around slower? Like maybe the connection process to another person, part of that's actually just loading all the graphics and assets and stuff.
Yeah. It could be something like that. I mean, obviously it's PS4. Maybe it's different on PC. Maybe it loads faster or something. I don't really know. But one thing I have heard is that basically every port of Street Fighter V has the same kind of slowness issues in terms of loading the match, and it was like theorized that time was like hard coded in order to like show an advertisement on the loading screen or something. Which I don't know how true that was. They had a lot of blowback for the ads thing, so they might not have gone through with it, but it'd be pretty funny if that was the case.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
In terms of being easy to pick up and play, would you want that to also extend to the actual gameplay? Being friendlier to noobs?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think it's probably pretty important in terms of player retention, so they don't drop it if it should be easier.
Yeah.
But also, like, I'm kind of the mind that, like, it's Riot we're talking about, and it's just going to be popular no matter what. So I'd rather they go for something that's more deep, has a little bit more complexity to it. So the players are just going to play it. So like, you might as well make it a little more complex. So they'll, it'll be a stronger competitive game.
More meat to it.
Yeah.
And so you think the assist system would lend itself to that end?
Sure. Yeah, I can see that working.
What's the deal with the like alpha, beta, and delta or whatever the hell you choose before the match? What is that all about? Can you explain that to me real quick?
Just different moves that the character is going to do when you call them as an assist.
Okay, so it's changing something about the assist?
Yeah. So, for example, Cyclops, one of them is like Optic Blast, and it's like just a straight laser across the screen. So when you call Cyclops when he has that assist, he's going to come out and do Optic Blast.
Mm.
And then I think Beta is Gene Splicer. It's like a shuriken kind of uppercut move. And you pick that, and then we call Cyclops is going to do a Gene Splicer instead. So it's all about like what works for your team. That's the assist type you want to have.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think about games like Mortal Kombat 11, where you can choose move loadouts for the character, like it's affecting the character you're playing as?
I like that kind of stuff a lot, honestly. It reminds me of the groove system from Capcom versus SNK 2, and also Dakianta 2. The little modes you could pick on that. And I kind of like the concept of that sort of thing. Lets you like you can pick the same character as somebody else. Like, both of us could pick Rose or whatever, but like I could have a different mode or a different groove or whatever on Rose, and it could be a completely different style, from your Rose.
Mm.
So I like the idea of a character transforming based on the mode that you pick, and it would kind of have a lot of variety in like the ways that you could play that character.
So you kind of get more mileage out of the character without having to do like a whole lot, just adding some extra moves and extra different move sets and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that they would do something like that, since they got 145 characters? Do you, I'm thinking that maybe they're just going to make them super simple, super shallow characters, since they got 145 of them. That's assuming that all 145 make it into the game.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. It's hard to say. I feel like if they went with some kind of mode selection thing, it wouldn't change the character's move set, or there would be nothing new in terms of assets for that character. But I could see them doing like a more general kind of thing where it's like you get access to an air dash or something simple that they don't have to make new assets for, or push block or alpha counters or something like that. And that could be an effective way of like cutting back on development time by still having the simple characters, but also having a lot more variety, but like just making general like system changes based on the mode that you pick.
Right. Okay. Yeah, 145 fucking characters. You better have like a little icon or something, or pressing R3 to bring up your favorites. I'm not sifting through that fucking character select menu.
Yeah, they're gonna have to have something.
That's some fucking Mugen shit right there. Have you ever played a fighting game that had such weirdness or complexity to it that you just gave up and didn't bother?
I can't think of one that made me quit because of the complexity. I mean, I would argue maybe Virtua Fighter was a little intimidating. I never played enough to get super good at that, or even any good really. But it was different though, because it's pretty simple on the outside. You don't have that many moves. Well, you don't have that many base buttons, or each character has like plenty of moves, I guess. But that one's pretty. It was pretty hard for me. I never got really to the point where I was like comfortable fighting other opponents in that. Even though I played it a few times against other people, but it's very deep, and it was scary for me. So that one was the closest one, I would say.
So it's more like fighting games that you don't play right now just had a lack of interesting characters or something like that just made them fall off your radar. Nothing really due to crazy controls or something like that.
Yeah. Either I didn't like the characters, or other things could affect it too, like Dragon Ball FighterZ, for example. I don't really play that much anymore, and it's not like because I don't like the game. And there's even a couple characters I like, but the gameplay like meta has changed a lot to where it's like I just don't want to play it like because I know that I'm gonna have to learn the new characters that have been released as DLC, like all their mix-ups, like what to look out for with them, and then other stuff, and then the game is very like offense is really strong in that game, and so I'm gonna have to kind of get accustomed to blocking for a long time in that game again. And so it's like it's kind of intimidating to jump back into that one. So yeah, there's like multiple reasons why certain games fall off. That's certainly one of them.
Just it not being worth your while to relearn a game.
Yeah, or just not fun. Like I just don't want to, don't want to spend a lot of time getting reacquainted with everything, and then just it can be stressful in a game like that where it's like its offense is so strong. Like your defense has to be very good at all times.
Yeah, because everybody's fucking mashing buttons and shortcuts.
I mean,
fucking noobs.
that does happen a lot. And but there's other games too, like
Balls 3D.
Balls 3D isn't one of them for sure. Another one would be like King of Fighters 14, for example. Like I really enjoy the King of Fighters games in general, and that one I like that one a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just hard to like find a match in that game. So that's yet another reason why a game might just fall to the wayside is can't find matches. It's just hard to even play if I wanted to. So
they should just have a feature where they can like people on their server, they'll save their inputs from a match, and then if there's no people online, the server's just going to hook you up with like a shadow match of somebody's inputs from some other battle.
It's not a terrible idea. You could even go a step further, and what they did in I don't know if they still do this in Tekken arcades, but like they had a ghost feature, and it would actually like record the combos that you would do, and also like it would look at what you do in certain situations, and I think it would record that kind of stuff too. So so you could actually have like an AI like ghost like just doing the stuff that you did.
Wow.
That'd be kind of cool.
Which Tekken was this for?
It's for 5, starting with 5 did it for sure.
Damn. Yeah, and they could even like fool you into thinking you're playing against a real person by like giving them a fake username or something like that.
Yeah, that's what they did in Tekken. And it would like you'd have like those cards that you would get at the arcade, and you'd scan your card and it would have your name and your costume for your Tekken character. And yeah, and the ghost would have like all that stuff too, because it's all just recorded to the online database or whatever.
Well, but can other people play against it? Or okay, because if it's just you fighting you, that wouldn't be too exciting. But if it's you fighting other people's ghosts when there's a lull in actual living people playing, then that could be pretty pimp.
Yeah. And so everyone else could like fight your ghosts, like if they were playing against a CPU like randomly, it would just be like a ghost character.
Nice. So are you a fan of League of Legends?
I've wanted to like kind of learn it and get into it, and I've over the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, like I've like picked it up and played it a little bit here and there just to like try and learn the ropes. But every single time I just stop playing it, so I think what I've learned is like I don't actually want to play it, I think it's more like I like some of the characters, and I want that kind of model for a fighting game where it's like there's like a ton of players and I can just do that but for a fighting game.
So the large number of champions but applied to a fighting game.
Right. And a lot of other people to play against.
So why didn't you stick with LOL? Was it too complicated, not fun?
It's hard to say. I mean, I felt like I had fun a little bit of fun every time I would play it. But um, but the game changed so much every single time I would try to get back into it, and so I'd have to learn that, and I'd have to look at what I was doing during the match and find out the mistakes I made and what I could change, and then dealing with my team and that sort of thing is also pretty stressful. Whereas a fighting game is one on one, obviously. There's not as much of that. It's all just on me, which I would prefer. So it's a lot of time, like, because when I get into a game, I want to learn a lot about it. Like I'm eager to get into it. So I spend a lot of time like researching and really trying to learn it. But that's every single time I've tried to get back into it, it's like exhausting trying to learn all the new stuff. So I think it's probably why I kind of bounce off of it every time. And I'm not like, I think I don't like play a lot of strategy games or MOBAs or any of that kind of stuff. So it just doesn't come that naturally to me, and it's just not my thing, I think.
So it was mostly just not being able to keep up with the meta.
Yeah.
As fast as it changed.
Yeah, that's a lot of it.
See, that's one of the drawbacks with having your games connected to the internet all the time is they can just say one day, okay, adding 20 new characters, all your strategies that you had, worthless. Get dunked on.
Yeah, it can be really exhausting, just trying to keep up with that kind of stuff. And it can be kind of defeating if every time you try to pick up the game, for people like me who like play very sporadically, every time you pick up the game, it's like, oh wait, this is different. So what's different now? Okay, and then having to spend time learning all that new stuff.
Yeah. But then if you go and play Third Strike, it's always Third Strike. They didn't patch it or rebalance it or add a new character or something to Third Strike. So
exactly, you just got to remember everything, everything about it.
Yeah. See, like fighting games nowadays are just an evolving thing. Like they're not the static initial 1.0 release ever. They never stay that.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder if there's a scene dedicated to just Tekken 7 1.0, where that's all they play. They ignore all the season passes, all the patches, all the releases, all the DLC characters. It's just straight up hardcore day one Tekken release.
That's kind of a weird situation, because I think basically everybody's on the same page that the game has improved a lot, like with each patch.
Yeah.
Which is not always the case, but Tekken has been doing pretty well in terms of improving the game.
Yeah, I'm sure it has. Like, I don't think any game wouldn't benefit from rebalances and stuff like that, but it's more like the idea of using Tekken 7 1.0 as just the golden standard that everybody can look to, and the meta's not going to shift right under their feet, overnight. So it's like a sense of certainty in that version of the game that everybody can go to if they want.
Right.
Kind of like with speed running, certain PC games, they have that one golden standard version of the game, certain release of the game that's like the benchmark for all the runs, that everybody plays that version, and anybody using something else, it just goes into that gray area. So we just need to go back to the days where any patches or additional characters and stuff like that, they were relegated to a completely new release on a new disc and everything. Just creating a whole new game for that. So you have Tekken 7, then you have Tekken 7 Second Strike, and Tekken 7 Third Strike or something for the third season.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of merit to the old way of releasing games, because before patching was a thing, obviously we had less balanced games for the most part, but there was like you see a lot more exploration of that release, like, and I feel like uh modern developers could use a little bit of a lighter touch when patching their games. Like, you know, there's a lot to a lot can be learned from a release. Like, so I kind of feel like you should let players explore as much as they can, except for obviously like things that are making the game less fun. That kind of stuff, I guess, is pretty urgent to like patch out or whatever.
Yeah, so that's something cut and dry, but
Yeah,
like, I guess you're saying like give the players just a moment to play with the tools they've been given instead of immediately going to patch and balance out everything.
yeah, because like, what if there's like, okay, let's say they've, people discover like an unblockable with Scorpion or something, in Mortal Kombat, and everyone's like, oh god, everyone's doing this unblockable with Scorpion and online, and I just can't win because he just does this thing and I can't block it. And everyone's complaining about it. Everyone hates fighting Scorpion, and then NetherRealm Studios is like, shit, we need to fix this. Everyone's bad mouthing our game. But I mean, the old attitude would be like, wow, Scorpion's pretty good. He has an unblockable. But let me try to figure out how I can like avoid that with my character, and go to the lab and like find out ways around it. And there's not always a way around it. Sometimes there is just like a just legit thing that you just can't get past.
Yeah.
That happens from time to time. But that could be, a really deep part of the game. Like, avoiding the Scorpion unblockable would be a big deal, and maybe some characters are really good at doing it, and maybe they would be good counters to Scorpion. So that kind of stuff gets figured out like the longer you let the release get explored.
Okay. Yeah, that's some good shit there, pal. Yeah, no. Sorry. No, I agree that maybe they are too quick to pull the trigger on patching or balancing something just because people are complaining. So instead of complaining like a bunch of babies, you could just go into the training mode and try and beat that shit.
That's right.
Scorpion's OP. Quit using his teleport move. Oh, you're a fucking noob. Oh my god.
Goes behind me every time.
Wow, what the fuck? You fucking use insert character I don't like here. You're a fucking noob.
Here we go, another Scorpion player.
Why do people get so fucking salty in fighting games? Is it because it's the whole just dynamic of one guy versus one guy? Like, so it makes it kind of personal or something? Probably.
There's a lot of that. People might identify with their character or something weird like that. Not that weird, honestly. There's a little bit of ego going on. So yeah, things get personal whether or not people think about it. It could be a kind of an unconscious thing.
Yeah, I guess it kind of goes for any competitive game. There's always just super high competitive people who will try and dominate whatever domain they're in, be it League of Legends, fighting games, Smash, whatever. Oh my fart. So have you ever broken a controller playing a fighting game?
No. Well, okay. Maybe, okay, so let me rephrase. I've never purposely broken a controller out of rage during a fighting game.
Oh.
My controller may have broken by accident during a fighting game.
Weren't you telling me one time it went out during a competition or
Yeah,
something?
Yeah, I had I was playing at an arcade and my stick wasn't working or something. I forgot.
That's a choice time for it to go out.
Yeah, it sucked.
No, man, that fight didn't count. My stick stopped working, bro. I don't know what the fuck's
Yeah,
going
it always
on.
feels
Damn.
like really like. Are you sure about that? Are you sure you just don't suck or whatever?
It just stopped working as soon as I started losing. Like, it was kind of weird, dude. I don't know. It's just, we need to rematch, but after I fix my stick.
Yeah, it was an awful coincidence, but that's how it goes.
There was more lag with my stick than yours. What the heck?
Yeah.
So, what do you think we're going to see with the Riot game? What do you actually think we're going to see? Because we have our wishes, but who knows whether they're going to come true or not.
Well, I think it's a good bet that we're going to see lots of skins and cosmetics and things of that nature. Assuming they go the free-to-play route like they did with League of Legends.
Does League of Legends have microtransactions?
Yeah. It has like you can buy characters and skins and stuff with like Riot points, and then you can like get Riot points with money, I think. There's a couple different kinds of in-game currency and ways to get those things. So it's not just, you can't just like, it's not just like you're buying shit, you can just earn the money through like winning matches or whatever.
Yeah, but is it that thing where the points don't add up and you basically just have to use money?
That's what they're banking on. I think for most people that ends up being the case.
Did you ever buy Riot points?
I did. I got like some gift cards or whatever.
Nice. Was it to get a character or a skin or what?
Yeah, but both. Yeah, I got some characters and a couple skins.
Nice. Yeah, boy. Get that custom Italian LOL skin.
That's right.
So, well, do you think they're going to go ham with it like Street Fighter 5, or do you think they'll be a little more sensible?
I feel like they're gonna want to, again, if they're going the free to play route, I think they're gonna want to go ham because that's gonna be their way they're making money. If they don't go the free to play route, then maybe not. I feel like it's a good bet that they're gonna go free to play and have lots of skins and cosmetics.
What if they had what if they had none? What if just all the characters and skins were free? And it's the income was bolstered from League of Legends.
Wow. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. Would you still be interested in this game if it wasn't free to play?
Mildly, but much less so if it was pay to play.
Do you think it would follow the same fate as Unist and all these other kind of pocket fighting games where there's not enough people to sustain it?
Probably, although it would still probably be able to survive for a long time because of the Riot backing. But yeah, I think it would have a way, because that's just the barrier to entry. Like, you have to pay to get in, so there's so many people that are just not going to play it.
Yeah. Well, Artifact had Valve's backing, and look how that went.
Yeah. But like with Artifact, there's like other games that are better and similar, like Hearthstone, and I guess like I think Magic the Gathering is free or whatever. And it was, I don't know. I don't know too much about Artifact, so I can't speak about it too much. But with Project L, there's not really anything like that. There's not like a big budget fighting game that's free to play with a ton of players that could be playing it potentially. So it's got like an advantage in that department.
Yeah, they'd be like a big fish in an empty pond, basically, which is like the ideal situation you want to be in.
Yeah, yeah.
So that kind of really makes me think then it will be free to play and supported by microtransactions. Just because there's just an empty spot with their name on it.
Yep.
To get a free to play fighting game out there. NetherRealm ain't doing it. Capcom ain't doing it. Nobody's doing it. So why not?
Yeah, and it's a big risk, but Riot can afford to make that kind of risk. So if they're probably the ones to do it, if anybody.
What do you foresee the controls being like? Are we going to have manly controls like Marvel vs. Capcom 2? Or are we going to have baby controls with shortcuts and whatnot?
I think we're going to see baby controls. I think, I mean, based on League of Legends kind of accessibility and its popularity, I think they're just going to go something easy to pick up, along the lines of Rising Thunder, which is the game that was killed to become this game that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because that game had like one button specials, I think, if I remember correctly. And it's the same developers, so probably a good bet that it's going to have one button special attacks. That's kind of how League works too. You just press a button and you get your ability. You get to cast your ability. So, it's probably a good bet. They're going to go with something like that.
Well, what a bunch of bullshit! Wow.
What, you got a problem, dude?
Yeah, I got a problem with fucking normies on my server
Oh, okay.
Mashing buttons and mashing shortcuts. God damn. Well, doesn't seem like you have a lot of faith for this game being a super in-depth callback to the old-fashioned fighting games of yesteryear.
Well, love to be proven wrong. Let me just say that. I would love it if it's like a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 like spiritual successor. That'd be pretty awesome. And I would say it's in the realm of possibility because the Cannon brothers are like obviously super old school fighting game fans, so it's within their abilities to do a game like that. And also the game's barely been in development for very long. I'm sure what we saw was very early, so there's plenty of time to change things around. But for what we've seen from the early footage, it looks a lot like Rising Thunder or Street Fighter 4 or 5. Those kind of games. It just seemed like a one-on-one kind of fighter.
They should have like a They should have two modes where one is a sophisticated old school fighter, and then another one which is a stripped down, simplified control scheme baby mode.
Mhm.
And you have to do good in baby mode before you're allowed access to advanced mode. And then you can play other people in advanced mode.
Pretty interesting idea, honestly. Like, you get to have your cake and eat it too. But the problem would be, like, I think you're just not going to be able to find anybody playing the more advanced mode. Like, if you're fragmenting the matchmaking between the two modes, like,
yeah,
it's just going to be hard to find a match.
it's like you could do something like where your rank determines what you've unlocked. So when you first start the game, all you have is a left and right and a punch unlocked, and that's all you can do.
Oh, I see.
And then when you rank up, you get low kick.
Okay.
And then you keep ranking up, you get special move, you get high kick, you get high punch, you get jumping, you get ducking, and it'll just build up your move set from there.
Nice.
Until you're finally fully equipped with everything a fighting game needs, and then you can go into the lion's den and fight everybody else who's totally tricked out. So this Project L, it's gonna suck, right?
Probably.
Okay. Putting our money on sucking. Is it gonna suck or is it gonna blow? Oh, knee slapper. So
a little bit of both.
Yeah. I'm sure, like, if I had to put money on it, I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of characters. It's gonna be free to play, and there's gonna be microtransactions. I'd say those are the three safe bets for the game. What would you say your three safe bets are?
I mean, I agree with all those. Also, GGPO netcode, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And it'll be super popular. Probably it'll have lots of players.
Yeah. I wonder what the conversion rate would be like for people who like League of Legends migrating over to this game. Not fully and just abandoning League of Legends, but how many people who are into League of Legends would be interested in this fighting game?
Yeah, I'd be really curious about that too. I knew of some people. So, like, before League of Legends came out, I got into StarCraft 2 a little bit. It was a brand new thing for me. I never played any like strategy games or anything, but I played that one and watched streams and stuff. And I saw some people like going from like StarCraft 2 to League of Legends, and then like I think when Street Fighter 4 came out, they played that a little bit too. And that was a little weird. There wasn't too many of those kind of people, but certainly, like, I would say like the League crowd is almost certainly aware of like Evo, so they probably know about the existence of fighting game competitions, you know. So maybe more than I would think. Maybe there might be a lot of people who are like curious about fighting games, but just never cared about Street Fighter or whatever other fighting games, you know.
And they do have the common thread of high competitiveness, I guess, going for them.
Right.
So that could be a very alluring to somebody who's big competitive into League of Legends.
Mm-hmm.
Give them another arena to stomp on noobs. Because God knows there's going to be a lot of them if it's free to play.
Yes, absolutely.
Little Billy's just going to see it on his Switch. Oh, I'm going to download this and play it and have fun. And you get blown the fuck out by your first match. She just gets he double perfects your ass.
Yeah.
This game sucks.
That's honestly kind of a funny scenario, like, and you don't see that with modern games too much, but something I think about a lot when I think of fighting game design is, for example, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. It has such an enormously high skill ceiling and characters that are so enormously strong compared to every other character in the game. Like, it's actually, like, probably statistically impossible for someone who is competitive at that game to lose to, like, a brand new player. And you can't say that for a lot of games. Like, you know, lots of new games have, like, sort of comeback mechanics and ways to even the playing field, but that game did not care who you were. Like, it just, it's just so easy to murder somebody in that game. And that kind of thing is it's nice sometimes to just be able to be that powerful. You feel so powerful with these characters in that game.
Well, you know, shouldn't that be the way it should be? If you've dedicated your life to studying this game, then damn right you better be better than some noob who just comes up to the arcade cabinet and tries it.
I mean, I can see it from both ways. Like, yeah, I agree with you, because I don't mind. I've lost badly plenty of times in my many years, but then the person who is on the other end is going to say, "Wow, this game sucks. Like, I couldn't even do anything," you know. And they're not, like, wrong, you know. Like, like, they probably picked, like, Ryu and Ken and Chun-Li or whatever, and they couldn't touch Sentinel and Magneto, you know. So, you know, yeah, it's two like schools of thought that are hard to bridge the gap. As, you know, it's a sticky thing to think about.
Yeah, high skill ceiling doesn't sell well to newbies.
Yeah,
who lol get mad and then run off crying to mom.
Yeah.
They're not inclined to buy the game or invest in a DLC and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
God, the whole comeback thing, when you mentioned it, made me think of I think it was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, where they started adding basically bullshit to the game, where called death streaks, where if you died consecutively without getting a kill, you were on a death streak, and if your death streak reached a certain number, you'd respawn on your next entry into the field with a perk that boosted your chances of getting a kill because you sucked so bad at the game. And so some of them were like Painkiller, which equipped you with extra health on your next spawn in. So I think it was temporary, so that wasn't like too bullshit. Especially just like on the like very fucked up map setups you could do, that could be like kind of good, but it is like artificially balancing the game. But the one that really gets on people's fucking nerves is Martyrdom, where when you kill somebody, they drop a live grenade right where their body was. So you run up, kill this guy, and if you're anywhere near his body, he's gonna fucking blow up. Which is just great. It's like, is that how you want to get your kill? You fucking cheesed it with a Martyrdom grenade? Like, are you happy now? You got a kill. Cool.
Yeah, that would be really shitty. Like, I would feel really bad, like, just to know that the game had to force its handicap on you to get any kind of progress, you know?
Yeah, and you know the other guy's pissed because he just died to that bullshit.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's like nobody wins.
Yeah, it's awful.
God. Like, some fighting game needs to come out that has the balls to say, hey, if you want to do good in this game, you actually like have to play the game and get to know it.
Mm-hmm.
None of this stupid little baby bullshit where, oh, you just, you press the X button a couple of times and that'll go pull out a fucking launcher out of your ass, and you didn't need to know anything. It's fine. Participation trophy much? Like,
Yep.
God.
Yep.
Oh, but hey, we need to make millions and billions in money, otherwise fucking dogs, right?
Yeah. Our investors won't be pleased if the game's hard to play.
Good God. Fucking dumb. So that concludes CareCast episode 5.
Yep. There you have it.
Yeah, fighting games suck nowadays because they sold out. They sold out to the man.
Yeah.
What was the first fighting game that had shortcuts?
Let me think. The first one I remember was like Persona 4 Arena.
Persona 4? What?
Yeah, there's a Persona 4 fighting game. Because I think that had you tap the A button or the light attack button multiple times, you get like an auto combo. But I feel like it happened at some other point. I mean, like Street Fighter Alpha 1 had an auto guard option. Like you just pick that when you pick your character, and it would like block for you.
Which game?
Street Fighter Alpha 1. So that was kind of. I mean, it's not the same thing, but it's kind of similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see the actual first one. I'm pretty sure it's not Persona 4, but that's the one I remember. That's the first one I remember.
Shortcuts and auto guard. Like, do you want to play the fucking game, or do you want the game to play itself for you? Bruh, God.
And
jeez,
Ken with auto guard was like top tier in that game. He didn't have to do anything. He just walk forward. And
fucking scrubs. Damn. Probably used martyrdom too. God damn.
Probably.
He probably used the noob tube too. Damn, I just remembered that bullshit. You got grenade launcher attachments for your guns, but then you also have a secondary that's a thumper that has 2 grenade rounds. So you just load out with fucking 3 grenades like fucking donkeys. Oh yeah. So the big Poggers Galaxy Brain setup was to equip a grenade launcher attachment to your rifle and have a perk called Scavenger, which lets you pick up extra ammo when you kill an enemy. They drop a little ammo pack. So basically you have infinite noob tube. You kill somebody, you pick up their ammo, use it to kill somebody else, pick up their ammo, and it's just fucking dog shit.
Never run out of grenades.
Or no, god dang, oh my god, these fucking Vietnam flashbacks get even worse. So there was a perk called like expert or something like that, but the gist is that it let you switch between your classes. But the downside, I mean, I guess upside, downside, whatever, is that switching your class re-equipped all the ammunition for it. So it was basically like a free ammo refill. So you have 2 classes set up. Both have noob tubes. You use up the noob tube in one, and then use the perk to switch to the second class, which also has the perk. And then you switch back to the first class. You have infinite noob tube ammo.
Wow, that's pretty ridiculous that they let that happen.
Yeah, so that's not quite the same as like auto guard and stuff like that, but it's just more video game bullshit from Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
Good God. God, and I liked that game? What the fuck? The hell was I smoking?
This podcast uses a song called Bossa Antigua by Kevin MacLeod, found at incompetech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. And the URL for that license is creativecommons.org/licenses/by/3.0.